Phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. I am your host, Sean Rais, and of course, I am flanked by the phenomenal Junior Frederick and accompanied by Bobby Jackson. Phenomenal morning, gentlemen. What's going on?
Phenomenal morning, Sean. Everything is coming on pretty nice, man. That was an amazing intro. Is that the
Oh,
played that one? I think
huh?
it is. That's the first time we've played that intro, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, that was really nice.
Very
Yes.
good, very good. Bobby
Man,
Jackson, what say you, brother?
it was extraordinary. I'm extraordinary. Everything is extraordinary this morning. I was waking up, meditating, thinking, and I was just feeling myself in a space that was like built for this as I'm reading this phenomenal book. Um, oh man, what is the name of it? It Takes What It Takes. So this morning I woke up with that mentality. I'm like, built for this. And then I saw the intro and I was like, we're built for this. And I mean, it's just compounding. It's an amazing morning.
Very good, very good. Junior Frederick, what's going on over there? St. Lucia. What's it look like?
Actually, right now it's a little bit rainy right now. The rains have been coming out of nowhere. I'm not sure what's going on, but I expect that because we had a we had a lot of heat over the last few days. Anytime we have a lot of heat, then you can expect a lot of rain. So I'm not too surprised. But I'm hoping that it sort of dies down a little bit, and it gives everybody a chance to go out, have some fun, go to the beach, etc., etc. So right now it's raining, but after the rain comes the sun. So I'm looking forward.
Always, always. Phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. We have some people on just so that we're live across all channels right now. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're gonna matriculate over into IG as well. IG's not yet StreamYard compatible, but we'll be using the phones and going live on IG next week after that as well. Phenomenal morning, guys. I see you. Okay. Somebody's somebody's wishing you a happy born day, Junior. Happy belated born day, brother. Talk about that. How was your birthday? How was your born day, man?
It was really good, Sean. It was really good. I took a drive down the coast. So I took a drive down the west side of the island. So the west side of the island is more of the touristic type of side. It's where they have all of the nice tourist attractions. So if you come down there, knowing how you love nature and how you love mangoes and how you love, all of that stuff, Sean, you definitely want to be on the west side of the
Oh,
island. So I took a drive down there, went to a couple of cool places. I went to a place called Hotel Chocolat. Hotel Chocolat. So it's French. So it translates to the chocolate hotel. And people always tell me, is this like the Willy Wonka? Remember that movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, something like
dude.
that. But no, it's pretty close. It's pretty close, but it's not. We can't eat the building, unfortunately. But I wish we could. But everything there is made of 100% natural raw cocoa. And what's interesting, Sean, is St. Lucia has some of the best cocoa in the entire world.
Mm.
Literally, the entire world. We export cocoa to places like Belgium and the UK and Germany and England so that they could produce their chocolates.
Hmm.
So I went down there to get some chocolate myself.
This is the breakfast with the brand. This is the breakfast with the brand. How you talking about chocolate in the morning? I hope everybody has their what is that? Cocoa latte and
You
chocolate
know,
all that
John,
good stuff.
I'll tell you something. Before I came here, just before I came to do this stream, I had so there's this little store, right? When you go further up the west coast, there's a little store. It sells like little truffles, chocolate truffles. And this morning I had one. It's chocolate, dark chocolate, but it's also espresso. So there's espresso on the inside of it. So
Ah,
that's why I got my coffee in this morning.
okay, okay. Junior's phenomenally different this morning. Bobby,
Right.
he had his espresso truffle.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Phenomenal morning, Coach B, Travis. We have people on LinkedIn tuning in. Drop your handle in the comments. We'll mention you. Any questions that you have, drop those in the comments, and we'll answer those questions and get to them, as well as the mentorship. Right. So we talked about the mentorship call. The mentorship call is actually the call after the call, right? And you can just put that inside of your browser and we'll be on the mentorship call. It's a little bit more direct, a little bit more personalized, at the call after the call to kind of have your questions answered, because there's a lot of, how would you say, certification taking place, but no monetization. Pontification and, communication, but no monetization and optimization. So that's what we want to do. We want to kind of help you to monetize and optimize your systems. As a matter of fact, which brings me to my next point. Every single day, Sundays included, every single day from now until the last quarter, we will be going live, right? I will be going live. If I'm accompanied, I'm accompanied, but I know I will be going live every single day because this is the last month, guys. This is the last month of the third quarter. Literally. You've got 1 month to tighten up the third quarter and get ready for the fourth quarter. And what are we doing for the beginning of the fourth quarter? Drum roll, please. It's been a minute. And I know everybody been like, Sean, when are you going to do it? You've been waiting on it. What's going on? What's going on with the brand challenge? So listen, beginning of the fourth quarter, to take out the third quarter and bring in the fourth quarter, we're doing the fourth quarter brand challenge. Fourth quarter brand challenge. So that's September 28th, 29th, and the 1st. So October 1st, to bring in the fourth quarter correctly, we're going to walk you through this entire month and bring you guys into the fourth quarter correctly. So you're going to have your fourth quarter brand challenge. You do not want to miss a 3-day fiasco. If you know what I do, we over deliver times 10. So I think it's going to be the VIP piece is like 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, but 9 to 12 on the 28th, 29th, and the 1st. We'll be working with you to help you to strategize, systematize, and scale your brand. It's really not as hard as it seems, but it's easier than it looks.
Sean, when it comes to the brand challenges, I think a lot of people, they get so much value from that. It's absolutely. By the way, Sean, is this one is still free? Is it free, or is there
VIP? The VIP will not be free, but the free is the free, and the VIP is so small it may as well be free.
Right.
VIP guys, less than a G, right? Less than VIP, less than a G.
Listen, if I was looking at this right now, I would just jump on in. Where can they? I guess we'll be putting out the registration link a little bit later, right?
We'll be putting that up a little bit later. But guys, listen, just get ready, because again, this is the end of the third quarter. I want you to think about it. We just opened up the year, Junior. We just opened up a new year. We just literally opened up a new year like it was yesterday. We're talking about the first quarter, second quarter. Now we're in the bottom of the third. It's like the bottom of the ninth inning, guys. Be honest with yourself. Like, where are you at in your business? Where are you at in your brand? Where are you at in your reach, your scale? What does it look like? Everybody starts with a whole bunch of, I promise you, we was just talking about resolutions and revolution. We was talking about having a revolution in your resolutions and a revolution, right? So that was just yesterday. Now it's the bottom of the third quarter. My. How time flies.
Yeah. One thing that I've found interesting as I'm tightening up things with different clients as we get to that fourth quarter is the third quarter investment. So I like to call it the third quarter investment because we're normally on track to hit whatever we're going to hit for the year. So if you've got a CFO in your business and they're managing the money and looking over things, like, you're pretty confident in what you're going to hit as long as you continue to produce. So we call the third quarter that end of the year investment to add another 6 to 7 figures, however big the company is, next year. So what I really like about this brand challenge is that it kind of puts me in that same frame of mind. And I posed a statement to the audience in this way. What are you doing today to make next year better than this year? And that's an approach that I started taking when I realized how close the bear is at all times. And the bear is the one thing that could take you out of the fight. You know, in business, there's all these different things that could happen. And the bear is the one thing that could take you out of the fight. So you want to be so far ahead of the bear that you are able to keep your business and keep your family and keep things thriving. So that'd be my question as we think about this fourth quarter brand challenge is, what could you get out of this? Like, what could this do for you to keep that one thing from being the last thing that your business experiences?
Nice. Guys, we're going to go to a break real quick, but I just want you to think about what Bobby said. How can you get away from what's coming, right? I always say winter is coming. Junior said it's raining in St. Lucia. Like, it's yesterday, guys. Literally, you just wrote down your resolutions. You just wrote down your goals. I want you to ask yourself, did you crush them?
I said Sean Ride East. I'm proud. I said Sean Ride East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys. So we got Jasmine Washington on YouTube, Phenomenal Morning. Tom, I don't want to hack up the last name, on LinkedIn, right? Listen, guys, it's so important that you put your business and your brand first if you want to dominate the fourth quarter in 2024. So important. Absolutely imperative. It's kind of the situation where you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself, right? Listen, I understand what it is to be a CEO, a professional business owner, and everybody's pulling from your attention span. And listen, just so that we're clear, full-time husband, full-time father, full-time business owner. We don't take huge breaks, right? And I'm also in college right now, working on a dissertation. So when it comes to no excuses and no extra time, I understand completely. High-level professionals, you're always executing at a high level, but there's always a level higher. There's always more that you can do. There's always more that you can do. And it brings me back down to my 4D framework, which for me is like, that's the oxygen mask, honestly. The 4D framework is the oxygen mask. So write this down if you've never heard of it before. Number one, you have to make a decision. Most people, most business owners flitter. You know, we're influencers. We're influenced as well by ideas. We always have ideas and we're super creative, Junior. You know, so we're going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and we can't zero in, we can't lock in. We're trying to hit 20 targets at once, trying to be high performers in every area, as opposed to concentrating and focusing on once. You have to make a decision first. And then you have to utilize discipline. So people have phenomenal ideas all the time. As a business owner, you've had phenomenal ideas, but did you stay there? Did you have the discipline to execute on it? Because good ideas come a dime a dozen. The only person that really gets remembered in history is the person that had the discipline to execute. So execution eats strategy for breakfast. Breakfast with the brand, execution eats strategy. You need to execute on all of those phenomenal ideas, right? And then once you've executed and you begin the execution process, remember that it is a process. So you have to give the idea and the result time to develop. Most people plant a seed in the morning and then come back to dig it up in the afternoon to see if it grew. Is that you? Have you started a whole bunch of stuff? We used to call it fits and starts. People start and then they have a fit. They start and then they have a fit. They start again and then they throw a fit, right? And we're undermining our own success with these fits and starts and overthinking the process instead of being devoted, being faithful, and being loyal to the process and giving it time to matriculate and time to develop. So that's the third D. And once you've got it, you got to dominate. Once you give it time to develop, you will dominate in anything that it is that you want to do. As a speaker, a coach, a consultant, it doesn't make a difference what your vertical is or what your decision is. You just have to have one. Use discipline to execute on it. Give it time to develop and then dominate.
100%, Sean. You know, while you were speaking, I wrote down something. It's actually something that you told me. I think must have been almost 2 years ago, maybe a year or two ago. You told me something, and I remembered it, and I just wrote it down while you were speaking, and I could remember. And guys, this is for everybody listening, all entrepreneurs listening, right? So when you look at your potential, right? When you look at the possibility for what you can do, it's very common to come across or to develop or to grab onto a mindset that sort of limits your potential, that sort of prevents you from seeing what is possible. And I could remember one day I was struggling with something a little bit, and I came to you and I said something. I don't remember what it was, but you told me something and I never forgot it. You said that you will perform into the top of you. Let me say that again. You said you will perform into the top of you. So this brings me to another point. So on the last Breakfast with the Brand, we spoke about being yourself, but we also spoke about recreating yourself. So for the entrepreneurs looking to go to the next level, if right now you feel like there's literally nothing else that you can do, there's nowhere for you to go, there's no more potential that you can reach, I want to let you know that there is. Yes, you're doing everything that you can, but the problem is you're performing to the top of you. And what you need to do is to create a new you that has a new ceiling so that you could go higher. You need to be able to make your current ceiling your new floor. And when you make your current ceiling your new floor, it opens up space so that you could go again and perform to another top of you, which is another level, right? And the way that you do that, or the way that I found that works for me, like I know everything works differently for everybody, is by shifting my perspective. Shifting the perspective to me, I consider it to be a type of mental alchemy where you can take something and literally transform it into something else just by changing your perspective. So, Sean, there's a saying, right? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Let me say that again. When you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change. So by changing your perspective to not looking at the current, situation with you, bang your head up against the wall or feeling like you're stuck, changing that perspective to saying that, yes, I've reached a new level and I'm performing to the top of me. This is not the limit to my potential. This is me saying, or my mind or my intuition or my current scenario telling me that I need a new version of me. And what does that do? That raises the ceiling and it expands and opens up the doors to your potential. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Very good. Very good. John Maxwell calls it the law of the lid. The law of the lid. There's a ceiling to your performance, right? And in order to lift the lid or the ceiling to your performance, you have to get around people that are playing the game at a much higher level. Bobby?
I'm pretty speechless this morning because I've got so many, and they're not emotions. I'm trying to figure out this right word because I think a lot of people are feeling this way right now on the call. So I'd love to be able to put this in words. So when you grow and develop, you have this knowing sometimes, like you know that you are the person, but you also know that the actions that you've taken up until now don't align with the person, right? So what you have to do is you have to make the right choice. And a phenomenal book puts it this way. They said champions don't have a choice. Choice is an illusion. They put it this way. They say if you really are dedicated and disciplined to the goal that you have set, the only choice or option that you have is to do what is required. And I think that when we come to Breakfast with the Brand and when we hear things like what Junior said, like you have to recreate yourself, and we hear things like, Sean, you got to keep on taking the lid off, and you may hear me talk about my time in the Marine Corps. Sometimes we can hear that and think it's optional. So many times things that my coach told me I thought were optional. And every time I took that approach, it cost me something. And it's interesting because most times I'm licking my wounds and he's coming in, not really, because like if you've ever worked with Sean Raish, he's not like going kind of like pick you up and dust you up. You go like, get up. Like, what are you doing? Like, get up. You gonna fix it. How are we gonna fix it? So like I'm over here licking my wounds and stuff. And he would always tell me like, you didn't have to go through that, right? You know that, right? Like that was your choice. Like you didn't do what I asked you to do. You thought that what I told you to do was optional. So now you're in here, woe is me. And I'm not that like a sulking type person, but when you get smacked, it hurts. You're like, oh, that hurt. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, that hurt. And what I want everyone to understand here is that if you're coming to Breakfast with the Brand and you're listening to people in a place that you want to get to, do not think for a second that the things you're hearing are optional. They might sound optional. Fourth quarter brand challenge, like, don't even put it in your head, if I got time. It's not negotiable. Like, you need to be there. Like, if you want this type of success, you want this level of execution, you need to be there. Recreating yourself, that's not optional. Like, you don't have the option to say, I'm gonna recreate myself in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like, you have to understand the reality is, if you don't do it today, you're gonna have to do it someday. And everybody else that keeps running the race while you stop are moving ahead, and you're gonna finally catch your breath, get your win, try to run again. And the people that, you know, I'm gonna tie it up here, but I want to leave you guys with this.
Powerful.
My best friend rides bikes semi-professionally, does this in Japan. And he taught me this thing called, I think it's called drift. And what drift is when you're riding the bike, the person that's in the front, boom, they're taking the hits. And if you get behind them, you can run, you can go really fast. And because they're taking the drag, you're able to get behind and build up some speed. You're saving energy, you're conserving muscle strength. And then the guy that's in the front, they're usually strong. Boom, 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 and they're eating that win. And then when it's time for you to win the race, they say, go, go, go. And then you pull out, and then you got all this energy built up, and you take off. So sometimes if you stop and you wait, the guy in the front, the dude that's taking all that drag for you, they're gone. And when you pick up speed, now you got to eat that drag yourself. So what I want everyone to understand is, like, this thing is serious, it's crucial, and timeliness is essential. Like, timing is important. So yeah, if y'all listening to this, man, it is not an option. Like, Breakfast with the Brand is taking massive drag for everybody that follows. Like Sean Rice, Junior Frederick, you know, I've been invited here now. Like, we're all in our own lanes doing our thing, eating as much drag as possible so that everybody that follows along, everybody that's, you know, sharing this stuff out with other people, everybody that's helping other people can really build themselves up. And when it's time to take off, they got so much more energy than everybody else in their industry, their vertical, and their market.
Good. Guys, that's one thing that we haven't said, right? I want you to share this out. And I tell you this all the time. When I began by sharing the phenomenal fire of other people, right? That's how I began. I began commenting, enjoying, indulging in, and being a purveyor of the phenomenal content that existed before me, right? And because of that, I was recognized as a purveyor of phenomenal content. It's almost like stealing fire. If you've ever heard of Prometheus. So Prometheus is a Greek mythology story where Prometheus went to the hills, and in the hills and the mountains, he found the gods, and he stole fire and brought the fire to the people. And because he brought the fire to the people, he was the champion of the fire, because the people were not going up the hill to see who the gods were and to get access to the fire. So Prometheus, guys, pay attention to this. Prometheus, because he shared the fire, he became recognized as a purveyor and champion of the flame. So when you share this out to people that don't know Sean Rice, or don't know Junior Frederick, or don't know Bobby Jackson, you become Prometheus. You become a purveyor of the fire, and it positions you in a space of authority. So when we tell you to share this out, it's not so much promoting us, it's helping you to promote you, because now they associate you with phenomenality, growth, and all of the good things that they'll be learning here. So something to what Bobby was saying, and Travis says correctly that that's a great cycling analogy. It really is. One of the things that I'll just pick one of them, because there's so many things that I've said for people to do that people think is optional. and haven't done yet. You watching this have probably sat down to write your book like 10 times. You've probably sat down and said, I've got a book in me, which is true. You got 100 of them, but you haven't decided on one yet. You might have wrote a chapter, a half a chapter, 5 pages, 2 pages. I work with high-level CEOs, MVPs in their vertical and industry, and people who are professional. I mean, people who have master's degrees. And I tell people all the time, I say, listen, guys, you already wrote the book. You already wrote the book. Like, what do you mean? I said, when I wrote the first book, The 7 Prerequisites to Success, and it became a success, it took a lot of momentum, right? We crushed it. Like Bobby said, we was hitting the wind and the wind was hitting us, and we allowed other people to exist within our drift. And they were able to not be hit as hard because I took the hit by writing the first book. The second time when I wrote the book, it was a kind of a phenomenon. It wasn't intentional. Watch what I did. Same thing I tell people to do. I wrote an article a day on LinkedIn. Now, this is a strategy, and if you use it, it'll be successful for you and it'll hopefully make you $1 million. Made me a couple of them. Just pay attention. I wrote an article a day. Why? Because people knew me as a speaker, people knew me as a coach, but they didn't know me for leadership. There's something that you want to be known for in your vertical. I don't know what that is, but everybody here wants to be known as the guru of X. Whatever your X is. My X at the time was leadership. So I said, okay, how am I going to do this? And I said, I'm going to write an article a day on LinkedIn because the algorithm is going to pick it up. Google is going to pick it up. And when people Google leadership, it will be synonymous with Sean Rais's name. Pay very close attention. This is a 7-figure fact. I wrote an article a day and then I completed that. And they did it in the month of January. So it was 31 days. I picked the longest month. It was crucial and painful. But discipline needs a decision needs discipline to develop. So I made the decision and then I applied the discipline no matter how hard it was. And it developed. It was matriculated. It was done. I would say around March, I said, it's time for me to write a second book. Let me start writing the second book. So I started writing the second book. I get about 10 pages in. Those of you who know me, you know about my 10 PD framework. So I started writing the first segment to the 10 PD framework, 10 pages. And I said, hold on. I've done this before. Like I just sat down early and I wrote down every single day. I said, hold on, this is something I've done before. And I went back to LinkedIn and I grabbed all the articles and compiled them. Because I did the work. I had the work done. Because I did the work, I already had the work done. So all I had to do was go back to LinkedIn and compile the articles. And then I said, hold on now, I was in the first master's degree. No, I think maybe the second one, first or second master's degree. But I said, hold on, I'm speaking on leadership and my bachelor's degree is in industrial and organizational psychology, which is the science and motivation of leaders and high performers within organizations. I said, hold on. I said, I got a ton of information here. Let me go back to my flash drive. Pay attention. Let me go back to my school days and my flash drive and compile all of the resources because I probably got 4 B's in 10 years in college. So everything else has been an A. So when I put together work, the work works, the work works if you work the work. I promise you, the work works if you work the work. So I went back and truth is timeless. Truth is timeless. So it doesn't make a difference if you did it 7 to 10 years ago. If it's true, it's true. So watch this. I went back. I grabbed the most pertinent articles of leadership that I had written. And this is the book. The second book. The first half is a 2-page. It's a 2-piece book, 2 books in one. The first half are the articles that I put in on LinkedIn, 31 Styles of Leadership in 31 Days. The second half, executive coaching for leadership development, was the executive coaching and leadership development articles that I had done in college prior to. All I had to do was collect the resources. Guys, you've already written the book. You've already written the book. Now, I just gave you a clue and a hack and a tip for you to say, oh, aha, I've done this 10 times over. Let me go compile the book and finally get it done. So you've made this, but you haven't executed. You haven't executed the discipline to start to work. and then start to let it to sink in. You haven't gotten far enough in the works. I didn't get that aha moment, Bobby, on the first page or the 7th page. I got it when I got to the 10th page, and I said, hold on, something clicked for me. As you work, the work will work on you. As you work, the work will work on you, but you got to have the discipline to give it time to develop. Now, we're going to go to another break, but I just want you to think about it and put in the comments, if you don't mind, put in the comments some of the things that you've started that you haven't finished, because we're talking about the closing of the 3rd quarter. We're talking about the decisions that you made at the beginning of the year that somehow by this time have not had the discipline, the execution, have not been given the discipline to develop. So you're not dominating right now. And I'm not saying that you're not dominating in any area of your life, because I'm only interested in high performers. So I know you're performing highly in 1 area, 2 areas, maybe 3 areas, but I'm talking about the gaps. I'm talking about the things that you don't see, that you think are negotiable and optional, right? Because you can't just be phenomenal in 1 or 2 areas of your life to be sustainably successful. To become phenomenal, you can't just be a high performer. You have to dominate in all of the areas of your life. Now, I want you to think, what does that really look like?
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Talk to me. What are some takeaways?
Oh man, you know, Sean, some time ago, some years ago, right? Back when I was still doing HVAC, I came across, or rather I came up with a concept. And that concept is called the work after work after work. The work after work after work. And you know what that really means is that to get to where you want to go, you're going to have to put in the work. What I said on the last Breakfast with the Brand is that the results you want are agnostic. The results you want, they don't care about the excuses that you make. And if you're in a situation right now where you're not where you want to be, you always have the option of more work. I know people are busy. I was too. Everybody's busy. Everybody has stuff going on. But then you have to put in the work after work after work, meaning that you have to do more than everybody else so you can escape, so you could finally free yourself. And to the people who are sort of standing on the precipice of the decision that they need to make, there's one question that I want to ask them. When would today be a good day? When would today be a good day? Before I made the decision to really and truly dive into entrepreneurship, I had this experience happen, Sean, where I I was doing the work after work after work, meaning that I would go to my, regular 9 to 5. But I used to supplement that with a lot of side jobs and, doing this here, doing this there. In fact, one day I could remember it was actually a Saturday, and I stepped out of the house to go and do the work after work after work. I left my home at around 7 a.m. and it was 9 p.m. at night, and I was still working. And I was just leaving like the site where I was to go home at 9 p.m. And I kept thinking to myself, I've always wanted to go into entrepreneurship, but I've never made that leap. And I kept asking myself, when would today be a good day? Guys.
Now, see, that's if you pay attention, it'll click for you. Oh my God, man. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. I got a crazy one. You want to hear one of my radical ones? Bobby, I know you got something burning. I know you got something on the burner, but Junior just gave a fire and it kind of liberated something. It brought an epiphany. I want to speak to Jasmine. She says, I don't know if working out counts, but working out. Listen, working out is everything. For you guys who don't know this, working out is everything. If you don't have so working out, most people think they lose energy and be tired afterwards, but working out gives you energy if you frame it right. So what Junior said beginning with the perspective, with your perspective, how do you view working out? Me, I view working out as like Monday morning master plan. Like you cannot exist and perform at a high level if you don't have endurance. It requires discipline. So let me talk about the discipline piece just for 1 second, Bobby, and I'm gonna give it to you, I promise. I can remember when I was interning. It was long before a paycheck. This is me interning and doing college at the same time. So pay attention. I would get up probably 3, 3 o'clock in the morning so that I could do school before 7 o'clock, because 7 o'clock, I was so adamant about being to the work site first that they ended up giving me the keys. Now I'm an intern, not being paid. But I got there so early because I'm so fervent and so fired up about an excellent, exorbitant example that they gave me the keys and said, Sean, you're the only one reliable in the snowstorm. Come open the doors. We're going to give you the keys. I said, okay, no problem. So I showed up that much earlier. I'd always be across the street drinking a cup of coffee by the time people started showing up for work. And I wasn't being paid. People who were being paid, the CEO, the owner of the organization, and all of the shareholders and the stakeholders didn't show up. I would be there early drinking a cup of coffee by the time anyone came. And some people call themselves coming early, but I came early. So early is on time. On time is late. Early is when you should show up, right? So that's when I showed up, early, right? That's my on time. So we got to be there by 8, I'm there. If I got to be there by 8, I'm there 6:30, 6:45, just in case, because I know bad things happen. I know situations take place.
Just to speak to Jasmine. It was Jasmine, right, who said the thing about working out.
Yeah.
Jasmine, I don't know one high performer who doesn't work out. Not one. In fact, Sean, I work out before I came and do this call. I don't know one person.
Of course. We all do.
Yeah, I don't know one person who performs at a high level that doesn't work out. I literally do not. If you have to ask one person, I don't know one person. Listen. The way check this out, Sean. The way I put it this way, right? When it comes to stuff like that, like reading, number one, listening to audiobooks, working out, that kind of stuff, the stuff that people don't necessarily want to do or they don't like to do. I look at myself and I look at, let's say, somebody like Elon Musk, or let's say Jeff Bezos or whoever. I look at a billionaire and I say to myself, if these guys are making billions of dollars and they have time to work out, if I'm not a billionaire, I definitely have time to work out. That's the way I look at it. If they're making, and listen, if you're making $1 billion, that means you have massive responsibilities. You have massive, It's not like, you just, the money's just coming out of a well, just coming from the earth. You have a lot of responsibility. And if they can afford to or find the time to work out, then I can definitely do it, because I'm not there yet. I'm on my way there. I'm not there yet. And I know there's something that I'm not seeing or not doing, but I can do it. So reading, working out, eating right, like if they can do it and they're worth $1 billion, I can definitely do it. That's the way I look at it.
Let me close this analogy, Junior. Let me close this, right? So I would wake up early, super early, go to school, get to the spot, have the keys to open the door, 6:30. By the time 8 o'clock rolled up, I'd open the doors, go through the entire work day. 7 o'clock. Bobby, people are leaving now. People are leaving between 5 and 7, people are leaving. I would stay and study the craft and lock up probably 10. Get home 11. Knock out by 11:30, 12, because by that time I'm done, like done. I hit it, knock out, wake up the next morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock, go to school all over again. I had a culture of about 3 or 4 hours of sleep for like 7 years to get here. And it was the high performance habits that I emblazed in my mind that kept me at that high level. So Junior, when you were talking about the work after the work after the work, like sometimes we don't talk about it because we think it's just what we do. So we look at other people and we're like, what? Why don't you get it? Like, why don't you get it? Our time is limited. Like we're on a ticking clock, and every day isn't promised. So what are you doing? This is the third quarter. You got 1 month left in the third quarter and 1 quarter left until the end of the year. What are you going to do that you haven't done yet? Bobby, come on, talk to the people.
Man, this morning is hot. I'll say that. It's hot. If you hopped on the call and you was just like, I'm getting my morning breakfast with the bread and my coffee, we like to get motivated. You probably feeling a little like, okay, he talking to me this morning. They're talking to me this morning. I feel that way myself. I'm like, man, they're talking to me this morning, because there's always something we can be doing to improve. But the big thing that I kind of wrote down and noticed within myself that I was just taking notes on was self-discipline and accountability. Because I think a lot of times we know what we should do. We know that we can do it. We also sometimes fix our bodies to do it. Like, how many times have you hit the snooze button with one leg out of the bed? Like, you're halfway in it, but you just hit it and put that leg back in the bed. And I think that it's really interesting. And I think I have a short story too that I can share that was my aha moment. So I was running for a 3-mile test this was years ago though. I was probably 3-4 years ago. I was running for a test. I was also running the business. I was in college. I was doing all these different things. And I was really gung-ho about getting a good time on this run, that I was practically like killing myself on this run. And that's what you have to do sometimes to build your body up. Like we call them wind sprints. So anytime you're trying to get faster at running, you do long distance for the endurance, and then you do wind sprints for the long capacity. So when you're doing these wind sprints, it hurts because your legs are tired and then your lungs are tired and then you're just like sucking wind and it's uncomfortable. And I was thinking about this and I had that Junior moment. I was like, I am working really hard for this run, but they're not going to pay me that well. Like I'm killing myself on this run to impress people on the job. And it's not just impressing. Like when you're in the military, it's leadership. Like if you can't run, if you're not elite physically, mentally, spiritually, like you're not a leader, because they say this, your subordinates are a direct reflection of your leadership. So that's like a fact to me. So I'm like, I'm crushing myself, killing myself, doing all of these different things, and they really don't care that much. And that's when I had this aha moment of, I will never work harder for another organization or entity than I'm willing to work for myself. And that's when I started working harder in my business. Now, I didn't slack off in my running at that time in my life. I kept on hitting it. But that was like the short story to kind of connect all of this together, is the self-discipline piece. When I got out of the military and I got out of the structure, I was somewhat lost, if you will. Somewhat lost because I was in the Marine Corps for over 11 years, 12 years. So when you have that systematic structure supporting you, it's almost like an ankle brace. Someone breaks their ankle, they start putting on the ankle brace, they're working with it, the muscle atrophies after a while. And if you take the ankle brace off and you go out there and you try to execute, you'll find that you can't execute to the same level. So I say all of that to say this: are you in a system, environment, or culture that is helping you develop the habits you need? And have you been there long enough? Because fortunately, I was there for a decade plus. So when I hit a hard time and I was struggling with discipline, I took it to my coach. He was like, Bobby, use what you know. Like, you're not there anymore in, say, the uniform capacity, but you learn things there. You have skills and habits that you need to lean back into. And I also had the same experience with the brand. So I left the brand at one point. So I came in early, young buck, hitting it hard, got a little bit of success, and I was out. I'm like, I got this. I'm cool. Boom! I got hit by life, hit by business, hit by everything. And I realized I didn't have enough. I wasn't there long enough. And I needed to get back in because there were certain high performance business habits that I had not developed. So for everybody that's struggling to, accomplish the 4D framework, that second D is a beast. That discipline is a beast. And if you're not self-disciplined, well, I'll say it like this: it's harder to be self-disciplined if you have never experienced a discipline structure. So here at the brand, we in the leadership leverage, we're there every Thursday, and then we have some HPC calls. We're there every other Friday. Then we have other calls, and we're there consistently. And there's a framework: Monday, same time, same place, on brand, on camera. So there's so many elements of discipline that you get from being in the right organizations that you can take with you throughout the rest of your day so that you can develop self-discipline. But yeah, that was my piece on everybody talking about the work works if you work it. Well, you got to work it consistently, and discipline is the way to do it. And a lot of us sometimes fail because we lack self-discipline, and we lack self-discipline because we haven't been around enough discipline.
Phenomenal. I think in patterns. And when people talk, I learn and I listen, right? So I have active listening skills that have been honed from not having them and suffering the consequences of not having them. So I've learned to pay attention. So something you said about, and what I heard was the pattern. I heard culture of performance. Culture of performance. You need to be inside of a culture of performance. Not just a culture of learning, but a culture of performance. And if you're not in, like, the culture of performance is like the cops. It's like the cops, COP, culture of performance, right? So when you lean to the left, you can get clipped by the culture of performance. When Bobby was in the military, if he'd have leaned out of cadence to the right, he'd have got clipped by the culture of performance, whether it's military leaders. In business, it'll be the loss of revenue. Business is a culture of performance. And if you're not winning, it's because you're not performing. And if you're stuck at six figures, it's because there's a level of performance that you haven't tapped into yet. And if you go from 6 to 5 to 5 to 6, and you've only made close to maybe 6 during the entire 3 quarters that are almost up now, it's because of the culture of performance that you're in and the culture of performance that you're not in. So you got to keep going up in weight. You understand, like, okay, so what's my guy name? He just did spin filthy. Crawford went up in weight, and now he's the undisputed champion. And now he's talking about going up in weight twice to become a champion elsewhere, Because once you become a champion of a certain culture of performance, if you stay in that culture of performance, you stagnate. You stagnate. So this is why I say $1 million is not enough, because it's not. But at one point, $1 million was unbelievable. And the only thing I was looking for was 10K a month, because 10K a month made me a 6-figure earner. And I said, if I can do that, I beat the algorithm. Like, if I can do that, then I'm sweet. Everything is great. There'll be no more problems. I can have 30 people working. This will be great. I'll be able to pay for my, 10 figures. I mean, 10K a month. That's it. That's all we need. That was the culture performance I was in. But then I got it. And I realized as fast as it came that 10K wasn't a lot of money monthly at all. Now 10K is a terrible, abysmal, unbelievable. What would happen, Junior, if we made 10K a month? What? It would be insanity in the business. So I want you to understand, guys, your culture of performance will have to, you'll either outgrow your culture of performance, or your culture of performance will outgrow you. But you cannot stay stagnant. You're going to move up or down on the performance scale. And what you want to do is you want to hit that lid and you want to overthrow it. You want to outgrow it. You want to go to the next level. So you want to go from 10 on one Richter scale to number 1 on the next level, and turn your ceiling into your floor. And that's what we're going to do for you during the 4th quarter brand challenge. The link is down there. We just put it together. Go ahead, click on that. Just register, guys. Just register. Don't worry about the landing page, all that funnel stuff. All that stuff is coming later. You have to execute with discipline. Don't worry about it being perfect. And I'm the perfect example of that. When we did what we did, we went live on Facebook. I didn't have a funnel and email list, none of that stuff. Matter of fact, one of my followers, when I say follower, I mean one of the people that was watching me during a live, he said, Sean, you got to turn your camera around because we can't read the screen, because if you turn the camera around, then we'll be able to read the screen the right way. But if your camera stays that way, then we're reading it backwards. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you very much. You know, I greatly appreciate it. And I switched. You see, the process, guys, it's the process that you learn from the people that you're trying to help will help you help them. The people that you're trying to help will help you help them. But in order for them to help you help them, you got to help them first. You got to try to help them first. You got to have the discipline to begin. You got to make the decision, then have the discipline to begin. So I put 2 links up. I've put 2 links up. 4th quarter brand, register for that. That's for the 28th and 29th and the 1st. Free plus VIP. The VIP will come later. Don't worry about it. Free plus VIP. VIP is the afternoon. We'll spend more hours. So it's 9 hours and 15 for those who want the VIP. Super simple. And I put up the mentorship, the brand mentorship, where we'll be going after this. So you can continue and kind of get into an interactive space with us, have your questions answered, and ask any questions that you have to help your business go to the next level. Now, that VIP option is only going to be free until the beginning of the 1st quarter, because time is money and money is time. And we've got high levels of experience, high levels of education, and more importantly, high levels of results. High levels of results. And many times people take for granted that which is free. But please, please, please do not make that mistake. Junior, close this.
Yes, sir. So, guys, you know, as we prepare to close today, I just want to reiterate what I just said literally a couple minutes ago. When would today be a good day? If you're looking to get into business, when would today be a good day? If you're looking to build your brand, when would today be a good day? If you're looking to improve your sales, when would today be a good day? If you're looking to become an entrepreneur, speaker, consultant, coach, any kind of service provider, if you've had an idea, if you had a vision, if you had a dream, if you've had any kind of inclination of freedom, of success, of a desire for more, the question is very simple. When would today be a good day? And if you really stop to think about it, you're going to realize that today is already a good day. The moment is here and the time is now. The only question is, are you ready? Let's grow.
Let's grow.